we're live. So welcome everyone. Today we are doing our meal prep meal prep plan. So today we are making steak with mashed potatoes and collard greens. The recipe that we're following is the Friday recipe from last week's meal plan, so it's for this Friday. The recipe calls for bok choy, but I didn't find any good bok choy, so I went with collard greens instead. And that's kind of what this is going to be about. It's about sort of making adjustments on the fly. You know, a lot of times people will have CSA shares, or maybe they're even growing food in their own garden, and you might not have exactly what we have in the meal plan. And so I'm going to help you with making adjustments. And so today my adjustment is collard greens instead of the bok choy. So I'm also going to pop into the live stream and see if I can answer any questions as I go along. And bringing it up now. Let me turn the volume down. So welcome everyone again. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with my steak. I've had the steak sitting out for a little bit. You want to get your steak... You don't want to cook your steak right out of the fridge. You want to let it come up to room temperature first. That way it's going to be easier to get a sear on the outside, but also cook the inside a little bit. If you're cooking the steak starting from too cold of a temperature, it's not going to cook the inside as well, and so it's going to mess up the sear. So we got this going. I'm also going to get the water for the mashed potatoes boiling. That's this part right here. And get some salt and pepper on my steak. So I like to do the salt and pepper right before I put it into the pan. The reason for that is if you put the salt on too soon, it's going to dry the steak out, and we definitely don't want that. So thanks everyone for joining. I have some of the members from my team over, so we're gonna have a nice dinner following our meal plan. And again, we're doing the Friday recipe from the meal plan that we sent last week. If you aren't signed up for our email list, please do so. The meal plans are a fantastic way to help you guys really plan out your meals, plan out all the recipes that you're going to do for the week. We give you a shopping list, 6 different recipes for 6 different days of the week. One of the days is sort of meant, you know, if you want to do takeout or something like that. So we're giving you 6 recipes plus a shopping list and everything that you need to know to execute on a meal plan. So thanks everyone for joining. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat. So I'm answering the questions on Instagram. So I know we're live on Facebook. We're also live on Instagram. But if you want a question answered, please type it into the Instagram chat box. And we're streaming under Dr. Cowan's Powder. So if you're not following us on Instagram, please do that as well. You know, I forgot the oil. I seriously forgot the olive oil. I'm not even sure we have oil. Hang on one second, I forgot the olive oil. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. So get a little oil on the bottom of the pan. I don't like to put too much. Just enough to get a nice sear. Now we're going to turn on the pan for the collards as well. Get that going. And let's get our steaks in. So today we're cooking ribeye steaks. They're about 1.75 pounds a piece. And they're gonna get a nice sear on the outside. And while this is going, we have the water going for our mashed potatoes. That is almost boiling. I started that before we went live, so that's why it didn't take so long. How long should I cook the steak for? That's a good question. So it depends on what your preferences are. I like medium rare to rare, and it also depends on the thickness of the steak. So the general rule of thumb is to squeeze your between your thumb and your index finger. That is roughly medium rare. So if you're pressing on the steak, get it to about the tenderness that this part of your hand is. Where are your vegetables grown and where are the powders being produced? Another good question. So we source from a variety of farms. The main ones that we source from are in the upstate New York area, which is where our production facility is. We have a farm called Mark Risto Farms. That one is in upstate New York. The other another main one that we use is called Red Range Farm. They are a certified biodynamic farm in Pennsylvania. Another one we use is Glentucky Family Farms. They grow more of our specialty varieties, and they're also a certified biodynamic farm, and they are in Glen Ellen, California. So those are the main ones that we use, but we do use some other ones on occasion. So let's get this back on there. So we're just going to let our steaks cook here. We don't want to do too much to them. They're just going to cook and sear, and we're hoping to get nice griddle marks from the griddle here. We also have our collards going. So let's get some butter and a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. I like to combine butter and olive oil when I'm sauteing. Right now I'm going to saute a little bit of garlic to go in with my collard greens. And let's put the garlic in now, or at least some of it. And that's going to smell real nice. So the temperature on my steaks, I like to put that like medium high because I want to sear on the outside while still keeping the inside, relatively uncooked. Again, I like my steaks medium rare to rare. I know that might not be the case for some people, but that's how I like it. So now I'm going to put my greens in. These are washed, pre-washed and cut. And once I have my greens in, I like to add a little bit of salt. And we're going to need to spoon that around to get them a little bit wilted. When I'm washing greens, collard greens, any type of greens that I'm going to cook like this, I don't try to spin the salad spinner to get them dry. The reason I don't is because I like to have a little bit of water there. And what I'm going to do is, after sauteing garlic or onions or something like that to go in there, I'm going to cover it and really let it steam to cook. So it's going to soften the greens and make them really nice and tender. So I think my water is up to a nice roaring boil, and I'm going to drop in my potatoes. So please type in the chat on our Instagram page if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer. Whether it's about this meal, the meal prep that we're offering in general, or just any other questions about our powders or anything like that. Again, if you're looking to access our meal plans, go to our website, drcowansgarden.com. You'll see a tab in the top, on the menu tab. Hit meal prep, and it'll take you to all the different meal plans that we've created. It's a new thing that we've started this year. The recipes and everything, and shopping lists and everything were created by my brother Joe. He works with us, obviously, in this capacity. He also manages production and is the liaison between us and the farms that we source from. So I'm going to check my steaks to see how much of a sear they have, and this looks like it's ready to turn. So just give it a nice flip, and we have a nice brown on the outside there. And we'll do the other one too. And you can see the grill marks, or the griddle marks there as well. Now when the greens are in the pan and covered, I turn the heat down to like medium low and just let them kind of wilt there and cook down in the water and a little bit of the olive oil and butter that you had. And I'm going to add more butter to that later on. Can you explain what low oxalate means? So yes, happy to. So oxalates are, what do we call them? Like they're sort of like anti-nutrients. They're in a lot of different kinds of foods. Notably in dark leafy green vegetables, and they give problems to a variety of people. So if you've had thyroid issues, if you've had kidney stones or something like that, you're going to have a hard time digesting foods with oxalates in them. And so a lot of times people with those issues have to remove foods like leafy green vegetables from their diet, and leafy greens are very important for a variety of reasons. And so the low oxalate, I think they're referring to our low oxalate greens powder. What it does is we've taken greens that are naturally lower in oxalates, we've blanched or steamed them to cook them, make them more digestible, but also to remove some of the oxalates from the greens during the production process. And so what you're left with is a cooked green that is easily digestible, and most of the oxalates have been removed. And so it's a way for people to bring back foods that are high in oxalates or higher in oxalates back into their diet. So thank you for that question. Gonna check our steaks again. We have some grill marks, but I'm gonna let it sit for another minute or two. Now the water in my potatoes is not boiling as fast as I want it to, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of salt. And what that'll do is it'll sort of reduce the boiling temperature of the water and make it boil either faster or at a lower temperature. And again, if for anyone just joining us, I am cooking the Friday recipe from our meal prep that we sent out to our email subscribers from last week. The meal prep and the meal plans are a great way to really simplify things and make things easier. It's an attempt to give people recipes and a plan for you to prepare home-cooked meals throughout the week. So we're giving you all the recipes, the shopping lists, and the tips and techniques on how to accomplish that. So now that we have a nice sear on this side as well, I'm going to turn them on. I'm going to turn the steaks on their side because these are pretty thick steaks, and we're going to need to cook the side there as well. Someone says, I love the wild ramp powder. Me too. That one's a good one. We source wild ramps from a variety of different places. A couple times we've sourced them from a farm in the Appalachian Mountains. Last year we got them from farms in the Catskills in upstate New York. What can I put my ashitaba powder in? That's another good question. So we have a variety of recipes on the website, and ashitaba is traditionally used as a tea. So you could make tea in it. You could make tea with it. Really, I just put it on just about anything I eat. That's one where it's like you're eating it more for the nutritional value than you are for the taste. And I mean, maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but it kind of has like a bitter taste, and I can see how maybe not many people would love the taste of it. Imagine eating like celery leaves. So it has that kind of bitter taste. I put it on my eggs, but you could really put it on just about anything. Traditionally drank as a tea. So good question, thank you. But this part is a little underdone, so I'm just going to put it up on the griddle like this, and we'll get this side cooked as well. Another thing to remember, the meal plans are designed for a family of 4. Now I have more people over today, so I'm making a little bit bigger recipe. But you can sort of scale up or down the amount of ingredients you use based on how many people you're cooking for and what size eaters they are. So I'm a big eater, so I probably eat for 2, maybe even 3 people. So we always need to make more food when I'm eating. So again, I'm just making sure that all the parts of the steak are cooked a little bit. When it's done, we're gonna take it out, put it on the and put it on the cutting board. Once you have your steak sort of mostly cooked, the other thing I like to do is add some butter Now, I'm actually only going to do these with one steak because I have a son who's allergic to dairy, so I'm only going to do that with one steak. So here's what I do if I'm not worried about my son's dairy allergy. I smash a clove of garlic or two, add some butter, add a fresh sprig of rosemary, and I'm going to melt the butter. And I'm going to baste this over the top of the steak. So we have rosemary, garlic, butter sauce that we're basting over the steak. I know you can't smell what I'm doing here, but it smells really good. Now the recipe that we have online also says to use the same pan that you cook the steaks in as you do for the bok choy. Obviously we're not doing that here because we got our collard greens there. But you can choose to do that if you want. So now this is done. About medium rare, and we're going to set this aside. The other thing you want to do when you're cooking a steak like this is you want to let it sit after you've cooked it. The reason for that is you don't want the juices to run too much when you've cut it. And setting it aside and letting it cool and rest for a little bit will help to keep the juices inside. The last thing we want is a dry steak, a dry burn steak. Kale powder, do you have? Yes, we have lots of kale powder. Our kale was grown by Mark Risto Farm in upstate New York. We have a video right on our website where you can learn all about him and his farm. He's been doing it for 30 years. He's certified organic. He even does some biodynamic he incorporates some biodynamic principles in his farming. He just doesn't have animals, so he can't be a certified biodynamic farm. But he's one of the best. Can you sell garlic powder? Yeah, that's a good question. We haven't really thought about garlic powder. I feel like it's pretty, widespread. You can get garlic powder anywhere, so I don't know how differentiated we could make our products, but it is something to consider. How about more spices? So yes, so stay tuned. Obviously we have to wait on Mother Nature and the growing seasons, but we are planning to have biodynamically grown herbs this summer. So stay tuned for that. Let's see, thyme, oregano, basil, sage, and maybe a few others. So we're excited for that. Will there be meal plans every week? That is the plan. I mean, we've received a lot of great feedback. I think people are really happy to get these. I think we hope that it's making life a lot easier for people. I know that a lot of people, especially if you have families or kids or something like that, people are busy. You have work, you have commutes, you have a lot of different stuff that you're juggling. And the idea is to, try to make things easier for people. So if we can put together a menu plus a shopping list for everyone on a weekly basis, the goal is to just get people to follow that. You're going to be eating healthy. You're going to know what you're eating. You're going to have everything laid out for you. So I hope and we think it'll provide a lot of value for people. So the plan is to have it every week, but we're going to take feedback and see how it goes. But the plan is to have it every week. Basil, yes. So yeah, basil. If you've never smelt or tasted biodynamically grown herbs, you'll be in for a real treat. Vegetarian meals, yes. So I'm obviously not a vegetarian, but I can appreciate and understand people who are. This week we had one meal that was completely vegetarian. It is a vegetable stir fry. So yes, there are vegetarian meals, and we do incorporate that into our meal plans and, stuff we do in general. Not for this one today, though. All right, my potatoes are not boiling as fast as I would want them to. And let's check on my collards. I think my collards are pretty much done. So what that tells me is I didn't start my potatoes fast enough. So I'm going to poke them with a fork and see that they are still not done. So, if there's any questions, please ask them. Happy to take any questions. I am on Instagram, so if you're watching this on Facebook, I won't be able to see your questions. Please join the live stream on Instagram. That's Dr. Cowan's Powders on Instagram. So right now we're just waiting for our potatoes to boil. Our steak is done, it's cooling, and our collard greens are about done. And again, the meal plan is intended to be meals that are quick, easy, and really delicious and healthy, but quick and easy so that it really adds value to people. So let's see. Consider cooking 3/4 until done to save time. Pre-cooking. I'm not sure what that means. If you could tell me what you're referring to, that would be good. What if my kid is a picky eater? Yes, I have 3 kids. Sometimes they're picky eaters, sometimes they're not. How do I incorporate the powders into their meals? So that's another good question. And it's really simple, really. The powders are versatile enough so that you can feature them and you can sort of bring out the flavors of them. Like, for example, in this one, we're going to use leek powder, pepper salt, and summer savory. And we're going to be able to taste those flavors in this meal. But if you wanted to, you could very easily hide some powders in some foods that your kids will eat. So, for example, my kids will eat oatmeal. They won't eat parsnips or rutabaga or celery root. But we make a root medley powder that's a little bit sweet, and it's white, and it mixes right in with oatmeal, and they don't even know that it's there. So they're eating oatmeal, but it also has parsnips, rutabaga, and celery root in there. So don't tell them I said that. And the principle is the same with just about anything that you're cooking. You can easily hide them in a soup, a stew, a sauce, a casserole, or anything like that. Pre-cooked potatoes and then 19 more minutes of cooking. Or less than 19 minutes. That's a pretty specific number, but thank you. I probably should have done that. To be honest, this is a new stove for me, so I didn't realize how, and thank you. I'm glad to hear that you love our powders. Apparently it doesn't get as hot as I need it to be. Can I put powders into desserts? Yes, absolutely. So again, depending on what dessert you're making, different powders go well with different things. One of the best ones would be the 3 beet powder. So you're getting 3 different kinds of beets, and that mixes well with things like chocolate. And so you can really add that to any chocolate recipe, cake, brownies, cookies, or anything like that. Parsnip powder is another good one where you can, add it to just about any type of baked good or dish that you're making. And so it's a really easy way to add vegetables to things that your kids might eat. You know, I'm sure every kid will eat a brownie or a cookie. So add some vegetables to it and you've got a much healthier dessert. Let's check our potatoes again. Still not ready. So, thanks everyone for joining. And again, we are cooking the Friday meal, the steak with mashed potatoes. On the recipe, it calls for bok choy. In this case, I'm doing collard greens. I didn't find any good bok choy at the market, so I went with collard greens instead. And that's gonna be a general theme of our meal plans, and I'm hoping to do more of these and, you know, on a weekly basis so that I can really help people create these healthy meals for them and their families. And so part of this is about making adjustments. You might have a CSA share with a local farmer. You might even be growing some of your own food and vegetables. And so you're going to get a meal plan every week that has a shopping list and a list of ingredients, but maybe your CSA share didn't give you the exact ingredients. So I'm going to help you with strategies on how to make adjustments so that you can still get the benefit of using the meal plans and creating those dishes, but not letting what you have, you know, either in your garden or in your CSA share, we don't want that to go to waste. And the collards are done. So we're just gonna let them sit, stay warm, and we'll just wait on the potatoes. They're getting there. Another 5 minutes or so. Again, I am answering questions on our Instagram live stream. That's at Dr. Cowan's Powder. So if you're watching it on Facebook or any other place where we're streaming live, if you want a question answered, go to our Instagram stream. That's at Dr. Cowan's Powders. And the meal plans that I'm referring to, if you're on our email list, we'll send them to you every week on Thursday. So that gives you time on Friday or over the weekend to do your shopping. And then the meals start on the following Monday. So it gives you 6 recipes. You'll be able to create easy, delicious, and healthy meals for you and your family or whoever you're cooking for. Can I put these powders into popcorn? So that's actually one of my favorite ways of using the powders. My kids love it, and it's a great way to get extra vegetables into really anything that we're eating. So popcorn is a great way. Leek powder on popcorn is great. Threefold savory on popcorn is great. Pepper salt, really a lot of them go really well on popcorn. Even beet powder. I was a little surprised when I tried that for the first time. So I'm going to start taking these potatoes out one by one. If I get a potato that's ready, I'm going to take it out. What that'll do is it'll hopefully heat up the rest of the water so that they're better able to, or so that the water boils faster. Thanks for joining, everyone. For those of you who have just joined, we are making the Friday meal plan menu, which is steak with mashed potatoes and bok choy. In this case, I substituted bok choy for collard greens because I didn't see any good quality bok choy in the market. when I went there, and so I got collard greens instead. And we're just waiting for the potatoes, for the mashed potatoes to finish up. They're almost done. And then we'll get mashing our potatoes. If anyone has any questions, please enter them into the Instagram live stream chat. That's the one I'm looking at. If you're on Facebook, follow us at Dr. Cowan's Powders on Instagram. Also, sign up for our email list. That's how you'll get the emails. The meal plans emailed directly to you every Thursday. I'm a great resource. Well, thank you, Diane. That's greatly appreciated. We are almost done with this. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Potatoes are getting there. They are almost done. Give it another 2 minutes or so, and we should be right there. I didn't realize that this would not go any higher. Yes. Lesson learned. It's a new house, so still getting used to the stove. And we're almost there. Oops. All right. So that's the last of the potatoes, so we can go ahead and turn this off. I like to add some rosemary. This is pretty finely minced rosemary. Some freshly chopped garlic. Lots of butter. And don't be shy on the butter. We have a saying in our house that everything is better with butter. And that is pretty much true with just about everything. And some heavy cream. Salt. Wheat powder. And I don't really worry about measuring too much. I mean, I know that a lot of people like to follow recipes and they like to measure things out. That's not really how I cook. I've never been like that. Yeah, love the butter saying, of course. My daughter says it all the time. She's well trained. And pepper salt and some summer savory. And let's get to mashing. Yeah, I can hear my kids in the background. They're being funny right now. All right. I am going to add a little bit more butter, maybe a little bit more than a little bit, and a little bit more cream. Excuse me, gonna sneeze. When you're working with pepper salt, if you're not careful, it'll make you sneeze. It's very peppery. All right, so we are just about done. I'm going to finish mashing the potatoes, and that'll be it. So I don't know how long this took, maybe 20-25 minutes. Had the water on the potatoes been boiling a little faster, it probably would have gone a little bit shorter than that, but that's the idea, is to give quick, easy recipes that are delicious, nutritious, and something that just about anyone can do. And I hope you sign up for our email list to get our meal plans. They come out every Thursday, so we're going to have a new one ready for you guys tomorrow. It'll have the shopping list and the recipes, all the recipes that you need for the entire week, all in one email for you, so you can do all your shopping, all your prep work, and plan your menu, and it's all done for you. I think, and I hope it's of value to people. So please send us your comments, your feedback. We definitely heard from people that they wanted some vegetarian options in them, and so we tried to incorporate that. And yeah. So now let's do a little plating. So we have our steak. I'm going to take one of the ones that was on the less done side, and we will cut it into slices. There it is. So thank you everyone for joining us. If there are any questions, I'll take them before I leave, but this has been the first episode of our meal plan. Thank you everyone for joining, and hope you sign up for our email list. Get those meal plans sent directly to your email every Thursday, and has everything you need to create a delicious, nutritious, and really easy meal plan for the entire week. So with that, I will say goodbye, and until next time.